Good morning, students. So, today we're gonna discuss the various methods of measurements of length, mass, and time. So, first of all, we will discuss the measurement of length. So, there are two methods basically, which is known as direct method and indirect method for the measurement of length of anybody. Okay, or anything we can say. So in direct method we can use meter scale, vernier calipers, screw gauge, spherometer, micrometer also for the measurement of length of any physically observable quantity, body. That, as I said, we can use meter scale, we can use screw gauge, we can use spherometer. Similarly, so many instruments are there which all we can use for the measurement of length that is visible. Just like you can use a scale given in your geometry box, or a scale you are having of length 30 centimeter in the similar way. But in indirect method we are having two measurements, basically one for macro distances, one is for micro distances. Now when I am saying is macro distance means they are lesser than the distance that can be measured by direct method, and they are larger than or they are greater than the micro distances. Now micro distance is something which is very less means we can take the size of atom as well, which is going under this group, that is micro distance. In macro distance, most important method which we use is known as parallax method. Okay, clear? Similarly, there are some other procedures and other steps or other methods also in which we can use use to know the distances of macroscopic bodies or macroscopic distance, we can say. Similarly, in microscopic distance measurement we are having the most important method which is known as oleic acid method. Okay, clear? As I said, there are several other methods also, but two important methods which we use is parallax method and oleic acid method. Okay, so first of all we will now discuss this parallax method. Okay, now everyone just observe one thing. Hold your pen or pencil just in this way and close one of your eyes and observe the position of the pen. Okay, done. Now close the other side of your eye and now observe the pen. Doing it, what I am saying is, close one, suppose just close your left eye and observe the pen with your right eye. Whatever position we are getting, now just close your right eye and observe the position of the pen through your left eye. Okay, so you can observe one thing, that in both measurements you are having a little shift in the position of the pen or pencil, whatever you are observing, right? And that slight difference in the measurement, or that slight shifting in the measurement of the relative position of the pen or pencil is known as parallax. Getting my point? Now suppose this is the wall which we are observing the pencil on, and this is the pencil we are having. Now this is the nib. Suppose this is the left eye position with right eye closed, and there is a slight difference will be there. This is the right eye position with left eye closed. So this shifting between this position to this position, the process of this shifting is known as parallax. And this apparent shift, the magnitude of the distance between the two relative positions, is known as basis. Okay, clear everyone? And one more thing, as I said, this method is used to measure the macro distances. When I'm saying macro distance, means the distance is larger than the distance can be measured by direct method, but lesser than the distance that can be measured by micro method. Okay, so basically this kind of measurement, that is parallax method, is used for the measurement of celestial bodies or planetary bodies, we can say. So now we will consider one, suppose we are considering one planet which is lying at this point, let it be P, and we are observing it with the parallax method. So there will be shifting. Suppose there are 2 points on the Earth's surface through which we are observing this planet. Let it be point A, let it be point B, at which we are observing the planet P, and as I said, there will be slight shifting in the observation point, and that we can say that this distance will be known as basis. Let it be D, let it be D, basis. Okay, and the distance between the planet and the observer, let it be D. Okay, clear everyone? So now the angle, the two distances made with the planet, the distances made with the planet is known as parallactic angle. Okay, clear? Or this is also, we can say that as parallax angle or parallactic angle. Now since the planet is lying far away, from the surface of Earth, this distance can be behave as the smallest arc, because we know that the Earth is spherical in shape, so this portion can be considered as the smallest arc, and we can write, since this distance is very large and this distance is very small, we can write that ratio of B upon D will be very, very less than 1. This distance is very small, the apparent shift which is known as basis, and the distance of the planet from the Earth's surface is very large, so we can write B by D will be very, very less than 1. And so also this parallactic angle will be also very small, so we can also write theta will be very, very less than 1. Okay, so just by considering this small shift, that is the basis AB, as an arc of length B, okay, as an arc of length B, and the whole path as a circle, or the theta as the angle of the circle at point P, and this distance D as a radius of the circle, that is AP will be equal to BP, we can write that, remember what I said, this part is behaving as an arc length. Now this is the angle of the circle at point P, and this behaves, AP and BP are equal to each other, and they are behaving as a radius of the circular path. So now we can write it as this distance, see this distance D can be written as D will be equal to B upon theta. Now this is what we want to measure, right? This is the distance of the planet from the Earth's surface. We want to measure such macroscopic distances by using parallax method, and this is the way on which we can measure the value of the planetary objects or some distance objects which is not possible to measure through meter scale or any instrument which is used to measure the direct method. Okay, clear all of you? So now coming to the other parts, as I said, there are so many other methods also which we can use for measurement of length. There is echo method, there is sonar method, there is radar method. So first we will discuss echo method. Now, eco method you must have seen in some movies, or you must have gone in some places where large mountains or large hills are there, and when you say something, you got the echo, or you hear the voice of yourself only, right? Though that kind of method is also used to measure the distance. What distance? To measure the distance of a hill from where you are standing, and at what distance from you the hill is there, we can measure that with the method of echo measurement. Okay, so suppose to find the distance of a hill, suppose there is a hill and you are standing at this end, the hill is there, then to measure this distance of the hill, a gun will be fired towards the direction of the hill, and the sound of the gun, the time interval it is taking between the instant of firing and the instant of hearing the echo of the gun shot, it will be noted down, and during that time interval we can measure the distance by the simple formula, that is using the velocity formula or speed formula, that is v equal to distance upon time. Getting my point? First, a gun will be fired in this direction. Suppose this is the gun. Okay, now gun will be fired in this direction. We need to notice the time at which the gun is fired. Okay, and also the time at which we are hearing the echo of the gun shot. Now we need to measure the time interval. During the time interval, we can able to know the distance traveled towards the hill and then back from the hill to the place of firing. Then if the gun is moving with speed v, I mean the bullet is moving with speed v, and s is the distance of the hill and t is the total time taken, then we can find out this distance as vt, but that should be divided by 2, because the distance we are traveling is twice of the actual distance. One, the sound is going and again it is coming back, that is the echo, right? So the distance is twice covered. So to know the distance between the hill from the place where the gun had shot, we need to divide the distance by 2. Okay, clear? Now this is the echo method. In similar way, we are having one more method which is known as radar method. Now this method is used to know the distance, we can say that to like the nearby planet such as Venus, which is very much near to Earth, and in that thing the radar word stands for, this radar word stands for radio detection and ranging. What I said? Radio detection and ranging. Okay, clear? Now this method is used for measurement of nearby planets. Okay, in this method radio waves will be sent. As I said, radio waves are of minimal frequency, minimum wavelength, so they are sent by this method from a position after which they will reflect from the planet and they will get detected by the receiver end. Getting my point, what I am trying to say? Once the radio wave is sent, the radio wave will be sent at the transmission end by a transmitter. It will go hit the planet and it will reflect back. When it will reflect back, it will again be received at the receiver end. Getting my point? And this receiver end, what I was saying is, yes, at the receiver end it will be received, and then we will have to measure the notice the time interval between transmission and receiving, and that by measuring that time interval by following the same method as we did in case of echo method, since radio wave is going with the all are electromagnetic waves, so they are moving with the speed of light, that is c, and the distance can be measured. If total distance is s, then that will be ct by 2. Okay, clear? Similarly, one the other method is there, that is called sonar method. That is basically is sound navigation and ranging. Radar is radio detection and ranging. Sonar is sound navigation and ranging. Okay. Now in this method we use sound waves instead of in radar method we use radio detection. Similarly, radio waves, in sonar method we use sound waves, and they basically we can say in this method they use ultrasonic waves. Ultrasonic waves means the sound waves which are having very high frequency, and this type of sound wave will transmitted through sea or okay. When they transmitted through seas or oceans, we can say, in that they will hit some rock submerged or hill areas or submarines, or we can say, and they will reflect back, and they will again be received at one point. By noting the time interval from the transmission to receiving, we can find it out. The distance s is equal to vt by 2. The process is same, only we are taking the source as a different method. Just like in echo method a gun is being shot, in sonar method ultrasonic sound wave is used, and in radar method radio waves are being used. Okay, now this is all about the macro distance measurement. Now we will move to the micro distance measurement, and one of the important method is known as the oleic acid method. Okay, now we will discuss this. So yes, so this method is used to measure the molecular size. As I said, this is for micro distance, so this is used for the measurement of molecular size. And for this method we have to consider 1 centimeter cube of oleic acid. Okay, and this volume of acid will be dissolved in alcohol. Okay, 1 centimeter of oleic acid will be dissolved in alcohol to make a solution of 20 centimeter cube. Getting my point? 1 centimeter of oleic acid will be dissolved in alcohol to make a volume of 20 centimeter cube. Then 1 centimeter cube of this solution, that means the oleic acid plus alcohol, 1 centimeter cube of this solution will be taken and will be diluted to 20 centimeter cube, again using alcohol. Getting my point? What I am trying to say, first of all we will take 1 centimeter cube of oleic acid, that we need to mix with alcohol so that the total volume will become 20 centimeter cube, right? After that, from this solution we will take 1 centimeter cube and we will dilute that to 20 centimeter cube using alcohol again. Okay, so the total concentration of this kind of solution will become 1 upon 20 into 20, 1 upon 20 into 20 centimeter cube. Okay, this is the main requirement for the measurement of molecular size by this oleic acid method. Now after getting that solution, that is 1 upon 20 by 20 centimeter cube of solution, we need some lycopodium powder, which are very fine structure powder. We can take any talcum powder, or you can consider also the chalk dust. Okay, so by using that, that will be little bit amount of this powder will be sprinkled on the surface of water in a large trough. Large trough means that will be like this kind of thing. Okay, great. Getting my point. So we need to sprinkle this lycopodium powder on the surface of water in a large drop, and 1 drop of the solution we made, that will be put in also in water. Okay, now the solution drop will spread into a very thin and large roughly circular part. Getting my point? When the lycopodium powder is placed or is put on the surface of water with a large drop, and 1 drop of the solution we put inside, then this acid will spread into a very thin but large circular film of molecular thickness on this surface. Then the diameter of the thin film. Now when I'm saying film, thin film, that means you just open the water tap and try to fill a water bottle having a narrow opening. Open the tap very slowly. Then when the water in the bottle is getting increasing, when it comes to the end of the opening, till then you can get a small layer of water which can lie. Suppose this is the opening of the bottle. Water can fill up to this, but if the water is pouring inside very slowly, then you can get a layer by this. The water can leave up to this level. This is the opening of the bottle, but water level can rise up to this level also. Now this structure what you are observing is known as thin film. Okay, now we need to measure the thickness of the film on the surface, and since it is a circular pattern, then we can measure the diameter of the thin film, so that we can, in a way, we can get the area of the circular thin film. Okay, getting my point? In that way, suppose n drops were put in the water, and if the initial volume of the water is V centimeter cube, after putting n drops, the volume will be nV centimeter cube, right? So now the total amount of oleic acid in the solution will be equal to nV times 1 upon 20 into 20 centimeter cube. Okay, clear? Now this solution of oleic acid sprays very fast on the water surface and forms a very thin layer of water, the solution. Let the thickness be T, since it is very small. And if this spreads to form a film of area A centimeter square, then the thickness of the film, which can be measured, that is the molecular size of the substance, that will be volume of the film divided by the area of it. And volume already we have got, okay, and area we have taken as A, so that the thickness will be equal to NV times 20 by 20 centimeter. Okay, clear? Now in this way we can measure the molecular size of any substance, and up to 10 to the power minus 15 meter we can measure by this method. Okay, now there are several other units also through which we can measure this length of any substance, which is known as, we have one for me, which is equal to 10 to the power minus 15 meter. Next we are having three important things. One is 1 astronomical unit, another one is 1 light year, and another one is 1 parsec. Okay, this is astronomical unit. Now see, light year you all know, right? 1 light year is the distance traveled by light in vacuum in 1 year. This thing you know. So the value of it is given by 9.46 into 10 to the power 15 meter. Clear? Next we are having 1 astronomical unit. So basically this is the average distance of Earth from the Sun. Okay, one astronomical unit is the average distance of Earth from the Sun, and it has a value equal to 1.496 into 10 to the power 11 meter. I'm sorry. Okay, let me write it here. This is not getting visible. So this is 1.496 into 10 to the power 11 meter. Okay, now parsec is very important. It is also the measurement of length, but this is the measurement of distance at which an arc of length 1 astronomical units subtends an angle of 1 second of arc. I know, getting very confusing, but let me explain it clearly. Suppose this is the surface of Earth we are having. Now here is the Sun. Okay, so what a parsec, let me tell you that parsec is the largest distance that can be measured. Okay, so it is defined as the distance at which an arc of length 1 astronomical unit, and as I said, 1 astronomical unit is the average distance of Earth from Sun. So this distance will be 1 astronomical unit, and since they are moving in circular paths, we can take this as a small arc. Okay, and it is saying, the definition of parsec is saying that the distance at which an arc of length 1 astronomical units subtends an angle of 1 second. Now if this arc is making an angle of 1 second, if this angle subtended by this arc length is 1 second, now this distance will be known as 1 parsec. Getting my point? What it is saying? The angle subtended, the distance at which an arc of length 1 astronomical unit subtends an angle of 1 second, that distance is known as 1 parsec, and it has a value of 1 parsec is equal to 3.08 into 10 to the power 16 meter. Okay, clear? So yes, these are the all methods through which we can measure the length of any substance, whether it is macroscopic or microscopic. So next we will discuss the measurement of mass and time. Okay, so the next part is measurement of mass. See, every substance has some mass, whether it is negligible or observable, that is different, but every substance has some mass. So we can say that it is the basic property. Okay, so mass is a basic property of matter, and remember one thing, that mass is independent of any physical change, that is whether we are considering temperature or pressure or anything, whatever physical obstruction we are giving, the mass remains unchanged. So SI unit of mass of anybody we know, that is kilogram, but sometimes it is inconvenient to use for molecular masses because they are very negligible, right? Very small they have. So for measurement of mass of atoms or molecules, there is one another unit is used, which is known as atomic mass unit. You can write it as AMU or by simply U. Okay, so this is atomic mass unit, which is used for the measurement of molecular size or molecular masses, and this is defined as 1 atomic mass unit is equal to 1/12 of the mass of carbon-12 isotope, including the mass of electron. Getting my point? The mass of 1/12 of carbon-12 isotope plus mass of electron. So using that calculation, it is coming up as the 1 atomic mass unit is coming up as 1.66 into 10 to the power 27, 10 to the power minus 27 kg. Now see, it is coming up the order of 10 to the power minus 27, then just imagine how small it is. Getting my point? So yes, in this method, by using that isotope method, we can measure the mass of any smallest value of or any smallest particle, and also for measurement of further smallest particle which are very small as compared to this atomic mass also, we are having one more one more method we can say, which is known as mass spectrograph. Okay, now this method is used, this method is used for the measurement of small masses of subatomic particles, we can say. Okay, so in this method, in which radius of the trajectory is proportional to the mass of a charged particle. Now suppose a charged particle Q is moving in a uniform magnetic field as well as in a uniform electric field. Magnetic field is denoted by B vector, electric field is denoted by E vector. Now when the charge is moving, we need to notice the trajectory, that means the path in which the body is traveling or the charge is traveling. We need to measure the radius of the trajectory, where this radius of the trajectory will be directly proportional to the mass of the charged particle. Okay, so by measuring this radius, which will be easier for us, we can know the mass of the subatomic particle which is moving in the combined electric and magnetic field. Okay, so on a standard basis, we can say the mass of any particle, whether it is subatomic particles or atomic substance, the mass varies from 10 to the power minus 30 kg to 10 to the power 55 kg. This is the lowest value and this is the utmost possible value of anybody. Okay, clear? Now this is all about the measurement of mass, and also we know how to measure the mass of any physically observable substance. Like we use 1 quintal, which is equal to 100 kg, and we are having 1 pound also, and also the most physically known concept, that is 1 carat, which is used for the measurement of mass of gold. And remember one thing, that 1 carat is equal to 200 gram. Okay, 1 carat is equal to 200 gram. And for macro units, micro units, we can use that atomic mass units. For macro units, we use Chandrasekhar limit. Okay, so for Chandrasekhar limit, we can write 1 CSL, that is Chandrasekhar limit, is equal to 1.4 times of the mass of the sun. Okay, getting my point? 1 Chandrasekhar limit is equal to 1.4 times the mass of sun, which is equal to 2.8 into 10 to the power 30 kg. Okay, clear? Yes, so now this is all about measurement of mass. Lastly, we are having measurement of time. Just ignore my handwriting right now because I am writing in a hurry. If it is not visible, or is there any doubt you are having, you can comment in the comment section. I will reply to that. Okay, so yes, we know that time is a fundamental quantity, and we can see that a clock reads it, right? So there is nothing specific for the measurement of time at the initial stage. So an atomic standard of time is used for the measurement of time, which is based on the periodic vibrations produced in cesium atom. Getting my point? So what I said, an atomic standard of unit, time is used. Atomic standard of time means the periodic vibrations produced in the cesium atom. Vibrations produced in the cesium atom, that is periodic vibrations, is known as the atomic standard of time. Okay, getting my point? So in cesium clock, they used to make it as a clock. The second is taken as, in cesium clock, 1 second is equal to 9192631770 vibrations of the radiation. Getting my point? See, that is that difficult to measure the time accurately. In cesium clock, it is the, like, we are measuring the vibrations of that. In that thing, we have to notice the vibrations up to this much. That means this amount of vibration will give you 1 second. That means just imagine how fast the atoms are vibrating. And this kind of atomic clock, that is cesium atomic clock, is used at the National Physical Laboratory, which is known as NPL, National Physical Laboratory, which is there in New Delhi in our country. So it has an uncertainty of the order of 10 to the power minus 13 in one part. That means in one vibration we can get the uncertain. That means it can give the correct vibration, or it won't be a complete vibration. That means only 3 microsecond in 1 year. Getting my point? The cesium clock has an uncertainty of the order of 10 to the power minus 13, which is 3 microsecond in 1 year. So these are the kind of things which we should know for our knowledge, but that is not necessary for our exam part. What you need to remember, that 1 decade is equal to 10 years. That is a direct method, okay? Similarly, 1 century is 100 years, and 1 millennium yes, 1 millennium is equal to 1000 years. Okay. Now also we are having lunar month, solar year, solar day. All these things are used for the measurement of a year, where we can use the calendars. Solar year means the complete duration taken by the sun to rotate. Similarly, lunar month is the new moon we are having. Okay, so in that way we can use time for measurement. Simply we can use time as we are not observing in a wristwatch or in the, what can I say, the wall clock, but everything, what time it takes for cooking, what time it takes for the day to it went into night. So all the measurements are included in the measurement of time section. But basically we can say the SI unit of measurement of time is second. Okay, so that is all about the measurement of mass, length and time. I hope I make it clear to all of you. If there is any doubts or any confusion or anything you want to ask, please comment. I will definitely reply to that. Thank you everyone. Thank you.